You're watching News Break. Now it's 7 p.m. and it's been the sixth round of crucial talks between farmers and the centre on the deadlock over the farm bill. And they've been at it now for almost 5 hours, but it doesn't quite appear that they might be reaching a breakthrough. Indications that we're getting from our sources inside that meeting telling us that the government is once again suggesting that the farmers set up, along with the government, a committee to go over the farmers' main demands, which include scrapping the 3 contentious laws and bringing in a law to legalize government minimum support price. But the farmers are insisting that the laws need to be scrapped. So have they managed to actually move the needle, or is it still deadlocked? If you look at some of the visuals that came in from the meeting, there were visuals, of course, of the meeting itself, but there are also pictures of the farmers having lunch with the ministers. The farmers have their own lunch, which they serve to themselves, the langar that travels with them in a sense to Vigyan Bhavan, where the meeting is taking place. But in an indication that perhaps the ice may be thawing, Ministers Piyush Goyal and Narendra Singh Tomar also broke bread with the farmers, but it doesn't appear to have necessarily changed the outcome of the meeting, which still remains fairly tense and fairly deadlocked. In fact, at the lunch break, during the lunch break, because there you can see the images of Mr. Tomar and Piyush Goyal with the farm leaders, but during the lunch break, the farm leaders actually participated in a Facebook Live where they said that at least till the lunch break, the government had nothing positive to offer. Let's listen.
सरकार वालों कोई पॉजिटिविटी
फिलहाल कोई नजर आती आफ्टर लंच देखते हैं कोई प्रपोजल लेके आਉਂਦੇ ਇਸ ਤੋਂ ਪਰ ਫਿਲਹਾਲ ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ
ਲੰਚ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਪੋਜ਼ਿਟਿਵਿਟੀ ਦੇਖੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੀ ਲੰਚ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਆ
ਰਜਿੰਦਰ ਜੀ ਲੰਗਰ ਛਕ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਕੋਈ ਪੋਜ਼ਿਟਿਵ ਕਦਮ
ਸਰਕਾਰ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਕੋਈ ਪੋਜ਼ਿਟਿਵ ਕਦਮ ਨਹੀਂ
ਪਰ ਫਿਲਹਾਲ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਫਿਲਹਾਲ ਤਾਂ ਟੋਟਲ ਨੈਗੇਟਿਵ ਹੈ
Okay, so nothing positive before lunch, at least, said those farmers. That was earlier in the afternoon. Let's see what happens after lunch. So still all eyes on that crucial meeting. Joining us tonight on the show with us, we have Sanjeev Kumar Chadha, MD of the National Agricultural Marketing Federation, NAFED as it's called. Prakash Chandra Sharma, National Vice President of the BJP Kisan Morcha, is with us. Siraj Hussain, former Secretary Agriculture, Government of India. And from Zoom, joining us via Chandigarh is Devendra Sharma, food policy analyst. Thank you all so much for being there. Now, it does look at the moment that the talks are deadlocked. Prakash Chandra Sharma ji, is this a matter of worry that the farmers are saying that after 6 rounds, nothing positive is coming from the government?
Srinivasan, meeting is going on. That is on discussion now. So it's too early. Like we should make any perception like meeting is positive or negative. Number second, like if you will see, like the government is the representative of all country and including all farmers.
Right.
If we will see, like there are 3 kind of farmers are there. If we will talk about the farmers, they are having the land more than 5 acres.
Yes.
They are approx 14%. If we will talk the farmers between the 5 to 2 acres land, they are 21%. And if we will talk about less than the 2 acres of the land, they are approximately 65% of the percentage. So if we will see, like the government is also concerned about those small farmers. They are more than 86%, including 5% as less.
What makes you say, sir? What makes you say that the protesters are only big farmers? There's no evidence of that. Is that what you're implying?
No, it is not like that. See, like through the media reports and through all the reports, if we will see, one thing is very clear: the people are there themselves. They are saying it. Themselves, they are saying it. Like they are also aratiyas. They are also the big farmers. They are also doing all the things. And we have seen in last 30 days, like so many other farmers groups, they have come in front and say supported the government. The farmers.
No, that's fine. I'm only on a simple point. That is the government still refusing to scrap these laws? Because today what we heard so far, the government sources telling us that the government is telling the farmers that bringing a law and scrapping a law is not an easy thing. So it can't happen overnight. That indicates the government is not willing to scrap the law. Farmers want it scrapped. That's why we're stuck.
See, there is a farmers of, I believe the 40 farmer groups are there. Other farmers are also there. So government are also responsible for that, number one. If we will see in a whole prospect, it's a big process and the meeting is going on. We should wait till what ends come in.
Okay, let's bring in Devendra Sharma. Devendra Sharma, you believe that because I spoke to one of the farmer leaders, in the day, and he said that, look, the government is trying to push this into a committee so that things get postponed and the talks keep continuing. But we are very clear that we want these laws to be scrapped. But increasingly now, as we cross over a month of protests, we're entering a new year now. You think that that's, given how hard the government is taking a stand on that, on not scrapping, do you think it's realistic for the farmers to keep insisting on scrapping?
Well, I think, Srinivasan, as you said earlier, the entire nation is watching this particular talk and with a bated breath, and we all want something to come out of this. We want the agitation to end. Right. And this has been an iconic farmers movement, as we all know. Now, having said that, the point that you raised, that the farmers are wanting the 3 laws to be repealed first, is something that the government, I think, needs to consider it very sincerely and see that, perhaps the best way to end this agitation would be to at least do 2 things, one about these laws, and secondly, create another law which would make MSP illegal.
MSP legal. So on that, I was told that they had a long conversation about how to legalize MSP or not, and that went on for some time. Not sure what the outcome of that. But what do you make of the fact, Devendra Sharma, that as Prakash Chandra Sharma said, that there are many farmers groups and associations that are also pro these laws that are meeting the government. So why should the government scrap them?
Well, I think let's be clear, this movement that has happened is something which I haven't seen in the last 30-40 years myself, observing agriculture across the country. And this has been a remarkable movement in one sense, that the farmers have come out openly and have, stationed themselves around Delhi. And they are very clear that they want these laws to be repealed. Now, the question that, there are other groups, I think this happens in democracy every time. If you remember when Rajiv Gandhi withdrew the media censorship laws also, there were groups which were supporting that. So I don't think that this should be a determining factor. I think more important is to really respond to what the farmers are saying. And I think we are all waiting with a bated breath, that something should come out of this long struggle that the farmers are in.
So, Sanjeev ji, one of the things is that now, of course, it has become about either scrap the law. I mean, it's an all or nothing situation. But the government in the middle had also said that we will try to amend the law so that the farmers' main concerns are addressed. And let's just put up that graphic. We had made a graphic of what are the key areas which the government was willing to concede, the farmers' areas of concerns in the bills, and what the government was willing to concede. I'm just simplifying it here and only taking the main one. So the Farm Bill actually said that there is no tax or registration for private mandis anymore. Earlier there was, now it will be done away with. Farmers say this is an unequal system, that government mandis, you have to pay tax, otherwise you don't. So government mandis will end up collapsing, and so will MSP. The government is now proposing, or has proposed to farmers, that you can also now tax private mandis. States can make rules to both register and tax private mandis. Second, the Farm Bill said that farmers are not allowed to take their disputes to civil courts, which the farmers said is a grossly unjust provision. And the government has apparently proposed saying that you can take your disputes to civil courts. Third, the Farm Bill doesn't have a system for registering farmer private sector contracts, which farmers feared made them vulnerable. The government is proposing that state governments can set up an authority to register these contracts, and meanwhile contracts can be made available with local authorities. Still a system like that is set up. Now, farmers at the moment, sir, don't seem to be willing to accept these suggestions, amendments. They want the bill to be scrapped. But the point, Sanjeev Kumarji, is that if the government is now retrospectively willing to make all these changes, why not have done that earlier? Why not have met farmers, consulted with them, and made these changes, which would perhaps not have led to this crisis, this deadlock?
Basu, if you see the whole process,
yes.
Earlier there were ordinances were issued, and 6 months were there.
Yeah.
So there was time for these groups to raise objections before the bills went to Parliament. So in Parliament, the due process of law was followed, and the bills were signed by the President of India, and they came into effect. Now, after passage of so much of time, they have come out with some of the suggestions, which government has heard them with open mind, that we are willing to concede. In a democratic process, you know, there is scope for making changes in the law, but just scrapping it at the insistence of somebody, a small
Sanjeev
group, I think that will not be good for our democracy.
No, but just one second. The point is that when you say ordinance, the fact is that you typically, before you bring in a bill, you always consult all the stakeholders. Now, it's not at all clear whether the farmers have been consulted or not. Number one. Number two, these changes and amendments are not minor. If the government makes these amendments, then it's actually back to status quo. Because currently, as you know, you are taxed inside and outside mandis. The bill changed that. There was no tax for any private players who wanted to buy outside mandis. They didn't have to pay cess, they didn't have to register, they just needed a PAN card. If even they are going to be taxed now, then it's status quo. Then why do you need this bill? Sanjeev ji.
If you see the whole intent behind the acts which have come, you know, the alternative which has been given to the farmers. So that is there. That is a huge change which we are making. Now, some people are trying to protect the APMC system. No, it should be left to the farmers to choose wherever he wants to sell the produce, whether he wants to go to the APMC or he wants to go to the outside ecosystem. So
Sir,
I don't think there is any disparity.
Sir, this is a constantly repeated kind of misconception that the farmer didn't have a choice, but now, even today, the farmer can sell anywhere he wants. It's just that the buyer has to be registered with a local mandi and has to pay a cess.
See.
But farmers can and are in fact selling to a host of stakeholders, private, government, everybody.
No, the government has already clarified that there will be a robust system of registration of the traders, buyers in place by the state government. So I think as it evolves, it will come up. APMC has evolved over a period of time. So still government has already suggested that they are willing to consider this in open mind. I think
if they're willing
there
to
is
consider
no harm in having an alternative system available to the farmers.
No, of course. But as I said, if the government considers it, then it's back to status quo. But interestingly, Siraj Hussain, already in states which have tried to, in a sense, not outright dismantle, but certainly make the mandi system and the regulations less stringent, problems are surfacing. We're just going to play you some video from Madhya Pradesh. Madhya Pradesh, I was told by a colleague there, my colleague Anurag Drawari, in May, reformed its mandi system, whereby traders, like with the new farm bill, don't have to register with the mandis anymore. And since then, there have been a spate of instances of farmers alleging that they've been defrauded by traders who came to them and said, take a check, I don't need to be registered with the mandi system under the new bill or the new law, and give us your mal, and the check bounces, and when the farmer goes to complain or to look for this trader, they can't find them because they're not registered. So this is now a spate of complaints across Madhya Pradesh. Let's just play you the voices of some of those farmers from our report of today, and then we'll come back to the panel. Let's listen.
माल देने के बाद में आज दिनांक तक हमारा को पैसा नहीं मिला है। ऐसे बहुत सारे किसान बंधु हैं जो मेरे साथी हैं, जो हरदा जिले से, होशंगाबाद जिले से और देवास जिला, नरसोला, अपना सीहोर जिला, जो लगभग 150 से 200 किसान हैं। और अमाउंट अगर देखा जाए, एक मोटा मोटा आंकड़ा, तो 5 से 6 करोड़ रुपए का जो घोटाला है, जो गबन करके व्यापारी यहाँ से फरार हो गया।
वो 1 महीने पहले आके मेरा डालर चना और मूंग की फसल लगभग 18 लाख 19 लाख के बीच की लेके गए थे और चेक दे के गए मुझे, लेकिन चेक लगाने पर पर्याप्त नहीं थी, चेक बाउंस हो चुका है मेरा। अब हमें एसडीएम साहब से उम्मीद है कि हमारा न्याय करवा जाए।
लगभग 150 से 200 किसान हैं। सभी किसानों की राशि 5 से 7 करोड़ रुपए की राशि है। मैं मुख्यमंत्री और प्रदेश के कृषि मंत्री से अनुरोध करता हूं कि जल्द उस व्यापारी के ऊपर एफआईआर दर्ज हो और उसकी प्रॉपर्टी कुर्क करके किसानों की फसल का पैसा दिलाया जाए।
मंडी की बजाय मंडी के बाहर बेचे थे और वो भाग गया, उसके खिलाफ एफआईआर भी हो गई, उसकी गिरफ्तारी भी हो गई, उसकी जमानत भी हो गई शायद, लेकिन उसके खिलाफ हम कार्रवाई कराएंगे। एसडीएम कोर्ट में आवेदन करके मैं बात कर रहा हूं और उसकी संपत्ति कुर्क करेंगे। लेकिन मैं किसान भाइयों से भी निवेदन कर रहा हूं कि किसी को उधार मत बेचिए। कुछ किसान ज्यादा पे रेट लेने के चक्कर में आ जाते हैं और उसके चक्कर में विश्वास भी रहता है। पहले क्या करता है, व्यापारी देता रहता है और विश्वास जमाने के बाद में फिर इकट्ठा करके लेके भाग जाता है। और ये कोई आज से नहीं हो रहा है, कई वर्षों से हो रहा है, जब से देश आजाद हुआ है या उसके पहले से भी किसानों के साथ धोखाधड़ी होती आई।
All right, so that last interview or that last soundbite was from Madhya Pradesh's agriculture minister about how these traders, at least one of them has been arrested. What we are getting are live pictures from Vigyan Bhavan, where it appears that the 6th round of talks between the farmers and the centre has ended. We're still waiting on what happened. But Siraj Hussain, that was the whole point I was coming to you, that in Madhya Pradesh, for example, already we're seeing the impact of what happens when you start to deregulate the mandi system. There may be advantages, but there are also risks.
Actually, Srinivasan, on 5th of June, the ordinances were issued. I wrote an article in The Wire on 8th of June, in which I said that crores of rupees of grape farmers in Maharashtra have not been paid by traders because the trading in grape in Maharashtra was permitted outside the APMCs. And therefore, I had written that for any trade outside the APMC, the payment should be made on the same day electronically. We talk so much about electronic payment, digitization, this, that, and the other. We should have made it compulsory that for any trade outside the APMC, the payment has to be done immediately. It should not be the farmer who should be selling his crop on credit.
Right.
You see, when there is trading within the APMC takes guarantee of payment. And there are hardly any instances of farmers not getting paid for the commodity they sell within the APMC.
Right.
However, outside the APMC, the ordinance allowed purchase of an agricultural commodity only on the strength of a PAN card and payment within 3 days. So there is no way, the payment could be assured.
Right.
Of course, there are a whole lot of other things, but this I thought should be mentioned.
Right. So it's not just enough, as the bills seek to do, that you just say that the trade within the mandi may be regulated, the government mandi, but outside it's a kind of free for all. You do need to put in conditions and restrictions. Mr. Hussain.
Right. I think the rules, whenever the rules are issued, if these acts stay, the government will bring in some regulation to ensure that payment is made on the same day. And not only that, another very important point is that the farmers who want to sell outside the mandi would like to have some base price. Now that base price is discovered within APMC. Therefore, it is important that APMCs also continue to perform that function so that when the farmer sells his crop, he can ask for a fair price.
Right. There's a fair price. There is what is called price discovery. But the whole point, Prakash Chandra Sharma ji, is that and as the same question that I was asking Sanjeev ji, that if all these changes you're now making, which are essentially taking away from the changes that the bill is seeking to make, if the amendments are made, it's back to status quo, then why push these bills through in this manner? Obviously, this indicates that there were many things wrong with this bill.
Srinivasan, coins has two parts. As far as the changes are concerned, as far as these things are concerned, issues can be there. But one thing we should not forget, that change is a continuous process. Whatever we are discovering, whatever they are demanding, or whatever government is finding their demands are logical and right, government is ready to do it. Not for today.
But these are drastic changes, some of them. That was my point. These are not small changes. These restore, I say this again, this brings us back to status quo. This effectively makes this bill almost redundant. If you're going to tax private mandis as well, then you're back to status quo.
No, it is not like that, Srinivasan. See, we are providing, as I told you, like more than, let's say 86% of the farmers, they are very small farmers. So they don't have the reach, they don't have the money to go to the market or the APMC. Number two, APMC is not now present in entire India. There are few states, the mandis are there, APMCs are there. Whereas the rest of the states, the small states or the small, they are not there. So we need to provide them the market at their farmer's place. Number one.
Has that happened?
It is happening and we have to do it.
No, I'm saying like in Bihar, Devendra Sharma will tell you, because we keep citing the Bihar example where the APMC Act was scrapped several years ago, and I don't think it made any great improvement that all the markets, the private players flooded in, huge infrastructure was built. Devendra Sharma? Am I right?
You are very right, Srinivasan, and I think that's a big lesson for India, that the way we are trying to bring in the market reforms in agriculture is perhaps not the way forward. Why I'm saying this is because even in this paddy season which ended, we have seen at least 50 lakh tons of paddy coming in from Bihar and Uttar Pradesh to Punjab.